Hello and welcome to this very special Today's Homeowner podcast. I've got a great friend of mine with me today talking about some things that I guarantee you'll be interested in, because who doesn't need good quality glue, adhesives, and a lot of other things there with sealants and caulk and so forth. With me is Mark Schroeder, Vice President of Marketing for Franklin Adhesives, and everybody knows about Titebond. And Mark, thanks so much for taking some time today to be with me.
Well, Danny, it's great to be with you. It's my pleasure. Good to be on the chat.
Well, I tell you what, when we've had, Mark and I have had a lot of chances to visit both here in Mobile, Alabama, and a lot of trade shows all over the country. And I've dropped in at hometown there of everybody at Franklin Adhesives in Columbus, Ohio. And I assume everybody's doing well there.
We are doing well. Yep, we're kind of plowing through this difficult stretch of time for everybody, but the company continues to roll on, and we're doing our thing to make sure we're providing good quality products for the people that need them. Well,
I tell you what, I always enjoyed when, some of my early visits there, learning about the history and the Americana behind Franklin Adhesives. Tell us a little bit, share with our listeners a little bit about that, because everybody loves a good American story, and certainly you have one there.
We really do. Yeah, I think it's one of the neatest things about Franklin International is, as you're stating, it's been an American company ever since it was founded back in the 1930s, if you can believe that. So we are now, it's family owned and operated, and would you believe now the fourth generation of the family has arrived in the business and is actively involved in it.
How about that?
And, that just continues to roll on. And you just don't see, many companies these days that go beyond, a couple generations, let alone four. So it really speaks to the family's commitment and dedication for continuing what has been just a really solid company for many years, and has all the hopes in the world to keep it going for many more.
Well, that's so true about different generations, because being in business is tough, and in the competitive environment we're in now, even tougher. But because you have to constantly reinvent yourself, constantly make sure that you keep what's been working for you, but then you always have to develop, and that's where I think a lot of times in a second or third or fourth generation, maybe they fall off on that a little bit. Maybe they take their eye off the ball a little bit, and that definitely is very obvious that has not happened at Franklin Adhesives.
It has not happened, right? And I think you're right. That is something that's maybe a little common or typical with family businesses, and it's just one of the many things that makes Franklin International pretty special.
So when they made the first batch, I just have to envision a 5-gallon bucket, a 55-gallon drum, something, when they made their first little mixture. Give us a little glimpse of that very first few weeks, months, and years of Franklin.
Yeah, you're not far off, I don't think, with that kind of size of container, because the origin of the company, as I mentioned, goes back to the mid-1930s, and that's where we got our start, providing mostly glues for furniture manufacturers and millwork companies, and, selling in, large size containers, 5 gallons and 55-gallon drums, and eventually into 260-gallon totes and truckload containers. But that's where it all started, was in that heart of the furniture manufacturing and millwork businesses, a lot of which was, down in North Carolina, High Point and Hickory, and then kind of migrated over the years into Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then kind of went, nationwide, and that's where it all started.
Well, over the years, you hear the phrase that homeowners now want to use what the pros use. And that's, never more true than with Titebond original and 2 and 3 glues, because I'll bet you just don't see a professional woodworker anywhere without several tubes of Titebond on their shelf. And then homeowners see that and they go, well, it's got to be the best. And of course it is. And then the consumer starts being more and more aware of that. I'm sure you hear that all the time from homeowners.
Well, we hear it a lot, and frankly, we live it a lot, and it's something that we're pretty blessed with. We've got the luxury, as you're saying, of all these, many years of history and experience that have really captivated and gained the attention of professionals, whether it's in furniture making or woodworking or really any trade, and that has expanded into the use of non-professionals or do-it-yourselfers and home improvement enthusiasts and hobbyists and all these different slices and segments that are out there that are acting exactly as you're describing. Is they recognize that if these are products that are of high enough quality and reliability and durability that the pros can lean on and expect great results with, then it's clearly going to be good for their projects that they're working on at home or wherever. So yeah, it's a nice position to be in with our brand and our products for sure.
Mark, one of the things I've enjoyed over the years in getting to know you is when a new product's out. And Mark, I can see the excitement in his eyes when he opens that up. It's like, here's my new baby. And I love to see that. And I saw that very thing when you guys introduced Titebond's Quick and Thick, because, and this is also a good example of where companies that do prosper and continue generation after generation, they're good listeners. And you guys heard some of the complaints, or some, not complaints, but challenges people using glue and, on different applications, whether it's with wood or pottery or ceramic or stone or, all kind of glass it's being, fabrics. And Quick and Thick, we've used it a lot on our television show. And certainly I have some at my house in my brand new shop that I just built, and I'm sure that has been received very well over the last couple of years.
It really has, and I would say it has from a different variety of users with different level of experience and skills and all that kind of thing. But it is a great example. Most people have some familiarity with Titebond Original, Titebond 2, and Titebond 3. And they are great products. They definitely have their place and their fit, but there are always things that we can attempt to do to improve on current products that we have, just to help solve problems and to help make for a better user experience, if you will. And I think one of the really cool things about Quick and Thick is, as the name suggests, maybe unlike some of the products we're mentioning here, it's got body to it. It's a sticker product that won't run or drip, and so you talk about people using it on crown molding or any kind of vertical application where typically a water-based pourable glue might run and maybe make a mess. This stuff stays where you put it, and it's just an easier way to use it. And as you're mentioning, different non-wood materials and substrates too. So for all those reasons, Quick and Thick's a kind of a fan favorite and a product of real interest for a wide variety of people and uses.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely has a good place in my workshop, I tell you that. Hey,
good.
Now, Mark, I know you hear a lot about, mistakes maybe that people made, and I know you guys are always great on your customer support and so forth on glue tips. I mean, what are some of the little quick tips that people should embrace? I can say the first one, don't put too much on because you'll end up spending a lot of time cleaning it out of the joints there. That's one of the things. I use too much glue sometimes, but what are some of the other ideas there that people should consider?
Yeah, you're totally right. I think people have a tendency just naturally to want to overdo it, apply too much, and sometimes the term, less is more applies. So that's definitely an area or a tip. Other common ones, I think, are just, natural things like pay attention to the shelf life. Most of our glues, for example, are, 1 to 2 years, leaning towards the 2-year-long shelf life. But, if it's ever in question, these products, for the most part, can be kind of restored to an extent by just stirring and shaking, and sometimes diluting with just a little bit of water if the product is really thickening up. So, tips like that. Storage, you want to make sure that you're storing it in a cool and dry environment. You're making sure that the cap is tightly closed and not open. That would lend, itself to have air meet up with the glue inside and start it to skin over. So just kind of common care tips, I guess, for extended use, and it keeps the user happy when the glue is on the ready and it's performing as needed, as opposed to having some kind of problem or trouble with it. So those are just a few that come to mind.
Boy, it's one of those things that once of course, every house has some type of glue, that you're using it. But boy, when you get, some of the quick and thick and you get some of the other Titebond products, you can't do without it then, because you're constantly needing it and using it. And that's a great way to be. I might want to mention a little sidebar here. You might hear Mark's voice right now and go, hey, that guy's got a good voice. And he should, maybe I've heard him on the radio. Well, you have. You've heard him on commercials for Titebond. Fabulous job on radio and TV commercials that Mark using his voice on. But Mark, I know since this terrible COVID has been around, you have not been doing some of your community service work that you do, but I'd love for you to tell everybody about this special project that you've worked on for years where you've lent your voice out a little bit. Tell us about it.
Yeah, sure. That's kind of you to say, Danny. I volunteer for an outfit here in Columbus, Ohio called Voicecorps, and it's an organization that provides spoken word for those that are, blind or otherwise visually impaired or aren't able to access, print materials like newspapers or magazines or even coupons and ads, those kind of things. And the organization is really driven by a host of volunteers that serve that capacity to read different articles and the like for listeners that tune in that aren't able to access that material for themselves. So it's just a really neat organization and something I've been privileged to be involved with for many years.
Yeah, that's great. Great way to, good for you for being able to find time in a very busy schedule that you have with your wonderful family and then your work family as well. And hey, switching gears a little bit more, glue, Titebond glue, legendary, but I'll tell you what, you guys are coming on strong with the adhesives and the sealants and the caulks. We were just working with you on some of the DuraMaster. Tell us about it and in general, things that are happening in the world of caulk.
Yeah, for sure. So in general, as we're talking a lot about glues here, and I think for good reason, right? Because, so many people associate the Titebond brand with wood glues, whether you are a woodworker or you're just a consumer or a home improvement, enthusiast that's fixing or repairing things around the house. You know us by our glues, and we get that a lot, is that, maybe not everybody's aware that Titebond offers really a wide variety of products under the caulks and sealants and construction adhesives and flooring adhesives category also. So we've got a lot of different product categories under one roof here. But caulks and sealants specifically is really coming on strong. And we've got quite a lineup for products that are ideal for interior use, exterior use, and especially on the exterior side of that equation, we've got a really strong array of sealants that are ideal for, windows and siding and doors and interior with, trim and crown molding. And the DuraMaster sealant, which is recently out, just checks a lot of boxes for homeowners especially that may be doing, those types of projects. And what we're getting a lot of great feedback on is the fact that it's so easy to use. Caulking and sealing a joint, no matter where it is around the house or how big it is, if you're not used to doing that, that can be a pretty unwieldy, messy task and not one that people really get excited about. But this DuraMaster is real user-friendly and just easy to apply and tool as needed and, cleans up with water. And so we're just excited about the opportunity to provide, pros and do-it-yourselfers a chance to just have a better experience when they're using a caulk or sealant for any of these applications, just to go a little bit more smoothly for them. That's what, in the end, we're kind of all about.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll tell you, the Titebond DuraMaster, I thought of a great application for that, and something that we talk a lot about on our radio show and television is that cold joint between your garage and your driveway. So often that was nice and level and there's not a gap there over the years, little settling. Suddenly there's a large gap there. water, or in your area, ice and snow can get down in there and really cause some big problems on the driveway itself, because that water will undermine the integrity of that soil there. But with something that remains flexible and can be applied to a larger size joint, because I've seen some of these joints up to 3/4 of an inch, and that can take a lot of water in there. But I thought that's a great application for it, because you're going to have expansion and contraction, and DuraMaster is going to expand and contract all you want in that particular situation.
Yeah, you're right. There are plenty of good applications for this beyond what I've mentioned, and you're adding another one here with what you just said. But yeah, the DuraMaster with 100% joint movement, so it's got that ability to expand and contract, with the joint as needed. That's just something that's not very typical in your standard, caulks or sealants that, might be at home centers or whatnot. This is kind of a special breed, and that's why we're excited about it.
Well, I'll tell you something I use a lot of, and they make fun of me all the time, particularly my sweet daughter, Chelsea, who's also the co-host of the television show, picking on me for using construction adhesive on everything. I mean, if you're putting that board, it's just like the other day, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we did a little video excerpt from a show that we did recently where we were building a deck. And so we were putting the ledger board, which is one of the most important parts of the deck, against a brick wall. And, of course, we're going to nail it. And then we came back and drilled through the brick into the seal so that we could put big lag bolts to make sure that wasn't going anywhere. Well, I broke out the Titebond construction adhesive, put a nice healthy bead on the back of it, and they go, "Why are you doing that?" I said, "Look, this is going to help seal it. It's going to keep it in place until we get everything." And I put that in. Anyway, that little excerpt went viral and went crazy, and I think we're over 350,000 views of that little excerpt there, and a lot of great conversation there, and other big fans of Titebond and big fans of construction adhesive. I even rescued a pair of boots out on the job one time. My boot was flapping a little bit. I know that might be an unorthodox use for it, but I had the tube right there. My shoe was flapping and talking to me there, and so I put a little of that on with a piece of masking tape. By the end of the day, nice and dry, and they still made fun of me, but my shoes made it through another day.
Well, hey, you know what? Whatever the application is, whether you're wearing it or living around it, just proof positive that, construction adhesives, and specifically what we've got at Titebond, you can likely find something that would help the cause and solve the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we certainly encourage you to go to Titebond.com. You will be surprised how many Titebond products there are out there for the flooring, caulks, sealants, construction adhesive to repair your flappy boots, and also a lot of other things. TiteGrab, real quick before we go, Mark, tell us about, I'm sure, I know at a trade show, you guys had people just surrounding you wanting to know more about TiteGrab, and we get a lot of questions, particularly on the radio show, about applying certain things on vertical surfaces. We use a lot of referrals there for TiteGrab. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I think based on the application you're describing, and we've got so many different products and different names, of course, I think it's the TiteGrab that you're referencing here, because
that's what I mean. Yeah, there you go. That's right.
It's okay. It is perfect for that application for like a slat wall or any kind of vertical application. This is a real special type of adhesive, in part due to its thickness and its body. It's got amazing grabbing and holding power, like instantly, that does just all kinds of different applications. And it was a big hit at the Builder Show, and everywhere we've taken it, and people have had a chance to experience. They kind of walk away with a bit of a wow factor as to what TiteGrab can do. And once you get accustomed to using it and trying it out a little bit, it's been a fantastic response. And feature walls is the phrase I was thinking of. We get a lot of people that are, it's kind of a trendy thing to be doing now, I think, in homes. And you see throughout people's living spaces, they're kind of taking a stab at doing a a feature wall type of application on their own, and TiteGrab is just a wonderful option to use for that.
Boy, we could go on and talk about a lot of other things. We'll have to do this again. Mark Schroeder, I certainly appreciate you being such a good friend to me and to our great partner, to the Today's Homeowner family, and certainly tell everybody there in Columbus we said hello. And again, it's Titebond.com. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Danny, good to be with you. My pleasure. Always enjoy talking Titebond with you.
Okay, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot.